There's been a lot of talk recently about the importance of maths, and efforts are being made to encourage students to study higher level maths at the Leaving Cert. We also hear of employers looking for people with good maths skills, but who are these employers? Why are they looking for maths? And exactly what kind of careers are there out there for people who do study maths? We visited Havok, a company started here in Ireland, but who now have offices all around the world. Producing special effects and software packages for both the games and film industries, you're probably actually already familiar with the work of Havok. They helped produce special effects for huge movies such as X-Men, Troy and The Matrix, as well as interactive software for such games as Halo. We caught up with two of the Havok team members, Nick Gray and Malcolm Tyrrell, and they talked us through their experience of studying maths from their school days into university and how they now use maths every day in their jobs. Havok, where did it come from? How did it come about?
Well, Havok initially started as a research project in Trinity. A couple of the guys there, a couple of lecturers, Hugh and Steve, had got this project going for three of the guys doing their masters that was physically based modeling. And that's just simulating computer graphics by actually simulating the physics underlying them, which people have been doing for a while. But around that time, they had realized that computers are getting fast enough that you could actually do it in real time. And that meant that they saw an opportunity that if you could actually get this going in real time as people were interacting with it, that you could put it into a game.
Did you ever have any idea you were going to end up where you did and have the success that you had?
Well, obviously, yeah, we knew we were going to be huge. Any startup has that dream that it's going to be like that. But really, now that we look at where we are and how well respected we are in the world and the games industry, it is exactly as good as we could have hoped it would be. But we were crazy young and we were crazy optimistic, but it did turn out to be that dream that sort of came true, yeah.
Can you talk about one of your favourite projects, say, that you've worked on?
So this is one of our most recent products. The problem, sort of in abstract terms, is that you've got characters in your game that aren't the ones controlled by you. They're the ones that you're chasing, or they're chasing you, or they're trying to shoot you, or trying to run away from you. And they've all got to be managed by some sort of system, an artificial intelligence system that tells them where to go. And one of the layers of the system is to make sure that they can actually move through the environment. And if the stairs, that they'll take the stairs, and if the elevator's broken, they'll know not to just stand in front of it. And if a wall collapses, that they'll know to go around it. And then we have algorithms to actually plot a path that is the shortest path through that 3D environment, and then algorithms to sort of modify that path so it looks more human-like, so you're not walking at right angles. And then algorithms to work out how to get around obstacles. So if an obstacle suddenly appears because, as I say, a wall has fallen over or a hole in the wall is blown open and has a new path, that we dynamically update our representation and re-query and rework out so the character can then take a shorter path. And then we wrap that up into a product and gave it to our clients.
What did your families think about you going into this line of work?
My nephews had never been particularly interested in what I did, until at some point they realized that the name of the company I worked for was the same name as on the logo on the back of loads of their video games. And suddenly, you know, my sister, their mother, said, you know, suddenly my boys are all talking about it, like it's really cool that you work for Havok, and they're going through all their games and they're saying, oh, there's the logo. That was cool. They were really chuffed to see that. And I was pretty chuffed to hear that as well.
So for students watching this who wouldn't necessarily consider themselves very mathematically minded, would you advise them to persevere? I mean, can they actually pursue a career in maths?
You know, we work in the games industry and we've got a lot of expertise at the specifics of games, but our mathematical knowledge is very general, and it means we can apply it to other problems. And so, you know, we could move outside the games industry into other, you know, interesting areas.
Somebody recently moved on to work for a special effects company, and that's the sort of thing that they need that same expertise too. So there's really plenty of opportunity out there.
And with all your knowledge and experience behind you now, what advice would you give to secondary school students?
Well, the thing I suppose I would tell somebody, in particular focusing on mathematics, is not to worry too much if it seems abstract and if it doesn't seem like it has an application directly to your life today or even your life down the road. The fact is that you're learning an approach to problem solving, and you're learning a set of tools that will stand to you even if you never do calculus again.
So really what you're saying is that there is a bigger picture, and what students are learning in school is almost a means to an end, so to speak?
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable way of putting it.
Yeah, I would say that if there's particular things you might be learning, you might be doing statistics, a little bit of mechanics or geometry in day-to-day when you're learning mathematics, and then day-to-day I don't necessarily use each of those bits. I will use one or two of them. I might not do statistics for a while, but what I will be using is the general sort of approach and rigorous approach that mathematics sort of imbues you with as you're learning it.
For students, of course, the moment when they're in school, they'll be studying very specific things, but what you're really learning is an approach to problems.
Do you think students are either mathematically minded or not? Is it something that can be worked on and taught?
There's a fear with mathematics. I think it's unjustified that it is hard. I think it touches on Malcolm's idea that it's abstract. It has certain differentiation from other subjects, but it doesn't mean that it's actually hard. It just means that you need to think a slightly different way. And once you get used to it, you'll find that things open up, because it is very logical. One thing leads to the other, and it builds.
So if there's a student who is struggling a little bit at the moment, are you saying that they could persevere with it and could find themselves working for Havok on the likes of the Matrix someday?
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
So you both studied maths in Trinity. Talk us through that experience. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it was amazing, really. Some of the lectures are the most incomprehensible periods of time I've ever spent in my life. And so there's a sense of camaraderie when you come out and somebody is the first person to go, "Did you understand any of that?" And everybody else goes, "No, I didn't." Everybody's so relieved. But you eventually then you go and you read through it, and somebody works it out and they kind of pass it on. I think he meant, yes. And then you get a real sense of satisfaction. I remember very much the feeling of my second year, where we'd done a particular course. The first year took an entire year to do it, and the second year we covered everything we did in that course in the first 2 weeks as a revision. And looking back on it, I was going, I can't believe I struggled with this. But the second time through, once you've got it, you've just got it. It builds up so nicely. And it's a great feeling to know that what was hard before now becomes easier. And the more you do, the more satisfying it becomes.
Talk us through an average day. What is the day in the life of Havok like?
Well, average day starts with coffee, of course. So come in, check my email. A good example would be a feature request might come in. So a client might say to us, this is really great, but can we do it slightly differently, or can you add this feature to it? So I'd maybe do some research, talk to other guys. So collaboration is I'll say that our job, for me anyway, has about the perfect combination of collaboration and working on your own. So I get satisfying periods where I can sit at a computer and really solve a problem, and then at the same time, if I get stuck or in the designing phase or afterwards, there's some really satisfying experience of sharing my knowledge and getting input from other people. One of the best things of a day might be a meeting. Meetings sometimes have a bad reputation, but it could be really exciting coming in and saying, "Okay guys, I have a really good idea for how to solve this particular problem." And the other guys might say, "Yeah, exactly." Somebody might say, "That's not going to work."
No, I've tried that before on something else. We tried that last year for something different. But we can improve that by taking this, because something the other team were working on, and they found this worked quite well.
Okay. So this is common, and this kind of collaboration it can be very exciting. I mean, you can come out of it kind of buzzed after you just been this kind of brainstorming, solving a problem. And there's a really satisfying sense when you know that something you've done is now in games. That's pretty cool. That these game teams that are, some of the most talented developers in the world are using something you wrote.
That's a really nice place to be. The fact that you feel that you've got somewhere. I mean, apart from the sort of the money and the fame and the women, that you've got these people that your clients really respect what you're doing. And that's a great thing.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how awesome is your job?
I'm going to go for 9. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you can see as a mathematician, I definitely can't go higher than 10. And if I go for 10, then that kind of means no, I better go for 9 as well. I'll go for 9, yeah. Who knows what could happen next year?
If we go for 10, we'll never get a pay rise.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I got to go for 9.
I hope that listening to Nick and Malcolm has helped give you an understanding of the types of careers that are out there for people who choose to study maths. Next time you watch a movie with special effects or play a game with interactive software, just remember, none of that would be possible without maths.